Why is Google Pixel suddenly getting noticed in the US smartphone market? And can it really stand up to Apple and Samsung? Let's break it down. It wasn't that long ago when Pixel phones were more like tech-hidden gems, great cameras. Sure, clean Android experience, absolutely, but sales, not so much. Fast forward to the second quarter of 2025, and something interesting is happening. Google is now the fourth biggest smartphone brand in the US, at least in terms of shipments. According to a new report from Canalys, between April and June 2025, Google shipped about 800,000 Pixel phones in the United States. That's up from around 700,000 units during the same time last year. It may not sound massive next to Samsung or Apple, but it's a 13% jump, and that's not something you ignore in such a competitive space. This 3% market share might still seem small, but it puts Google ahead of TCL, which actually saw a drop of 23%, going down to roughly 700,000 units. TCL had previously managed to stay just ahead of Pixel, but now the tables have turned. Other, smaller smartphone brands aren't doing great either. They saw a combined drop of 34%. That makes Google's climb even more impressive. Now, let's look at who's ahead of Google. Motorola is sitting comfortably in third place. They shipped about 3.2 million units in the same quarter, claiming 12% of the market, compared to Google's 800,000 units. That's a big gap. Even though Motorola only grew 2% compared to last year, their scale gives them a huge edge. But when it comes to the big two, Apple and Samsung, the numbers are on another level. Apple shipped 13.3 million iPhones in Q2 2025, even though that's actually an 11% decline compared to last year. Samsung, on the other hand, is on fire. They shipped 8.3 million smartphones, grabbing a 31% market share, which is up by 38%. That's a huge win for Samsung, and a lot of that success is thanks to their Galaxy S series, budget-friendly phones, with strong features. So where does all this leave Google? Well, despite growing in raw numbers, Google's overall share in the market is slightly down compared to 2023. Last year, Pixel was estimated to have about 5% of the market, which is more than its current 3%. So while sales are up, Google isn't moving fast enough to keep its share from shrinking in a growing market. That said, with the Pixel 10 series expected to launch in August, Q3 could change the game if it performs like the Pixel 9 did last.